All right, man. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, wow. I like this one.
That's a really smooth sake.
Yeah. Yeah. Normally you have to when I open it, I have to wait a bit for the alcohol bite to go away. But this was great. So actually, I got to tell you, one of my students, Akiko, gave me this because she knows I like sake.
Yeah.
Akiko, you chose correctly. This is great.
I would have to agree.
Yeah.
This is quite nice.
Yeah. So, Austin, what are we going to be talking about today?
So, we're going to be talking about fall and kind of like fall in Japan.
Mm-hmm. And compared to the United States.
Yeah. So, I think maybe I can ask you this. What do you think of when you think of fall in Japan?
You know, it's kind of interesting you say that because I feel like there's a big emphasis put on seeing the momiji, the koyo, the autumn leaves.
Yeah.
Whereas where I'm from in New England, they have beautiful autumn leaves too, but there's no thing about let's go see the autumn leaves. No one says that.
Yeah.
You know? But here it's a thing, go to Kyoto, see the autumn leaves, they're beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's no, I completely agree. Growing up, so being from Seattle, but I'm not actually from Seattle proper.
Yeah, but you guys have the evergreen states, so you just have pine trees everywhere.
Dude, you go to Bothell, there's no freaking pine trees. Get out of here.
Okay.
Don't insult my city.
Sorry, man.
No, but no, you're right though. We do have a lot of pine trees. It's like you kind of in fact, I feel like the leaves are beautiful, but they're kind of a hassle because it's you gotta freaking rake the leaves and stuff during the fall, and that kind of sucks. But here it's kind of like a wonderful experience.
Yeah.
It's you get to go out into the countryside, especially for people in Tokyo. I think it's kind of a more special thing here because you just don't see trees here. Right?
Yeah.
It's all friggin' buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm really happy about is I just noticed it this year, but I think it's been going on for a couple years. I'm seeing a lot of jack-o'-lanterns here.
Yeah, more jack-o'-lanterns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely remember a few years ago, if you went into a major grocery store here, you wouldn't really see Halloween stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe they would have some Halloween candies and I don't know, a ghost character or something. But here it's I really like how Japan's embracing Halloween.
Yeah.
It's my favorite holiday of the year. I mean, I've talked about it a lot on this channel, and I talk about it to everybody. But I'm really excited. So now we have 3 tiny little pumpkin jack-o'-lanterns at my house. And I'm planning on probably this week I'm going to go out and buy a big proper pumpkin.
Okay.
And I'm going to teach you how to...
Where can you buy pumpkins, real pumpkins?
You can find them at some grocery stores. I think every once in a while you'll see them at Don Quixote.
Okay.
So just big kind of department stores.
Okay.
You'll find them. They're not common. So you kind of have to go look for them, but you can find them. And so my plan is I want to go find a big proper pumpkin. We're going to carve it, and we're going to put a jack-o'-lantern out in front of our apartment. And then the other thing I'm really excited for is we're going to take the pumpkin seeds and roast them.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I love roasted pumpkin seeds. So I'm really excited about that.
Man. Yeah, that's that's something that I'm thinking about as, since I'm raising a kid here now, and he's 2 years old, so he's going to get to the stage where now he's able to do a Halloween in a year or two or something. Yeah. And we have a couple of plastic jack-o'-lanterns downstairs that he loves holding and putting things in. But yeah, that whole thing about trick or treat, right? So I remember back when I lived in Germany, and even when I lived in the States, trick or treat was a big thing for us. We would get our friends together, we would all wear in costumes, and in a group we would go around to the different houses and stuff like that. And I'm happy to see the Halloween stuff is getting more common here, but I want that trick-or-treating experience.
So it does exist here, but it's still kind of in its infancy phase.
Yeah.
But there's kind of a funny story that my friend was complaining about the other day, because he's got a little girl. She's 5 years old.
Okay.
So she's about she's going to go into kindergarten next year. And so he does trick-or-treating with her every year, 'cause he's from the UK, and so their community has a trick-or-treaters club
What?
that you have to sign up for.
Okay.
But there's limited spots.
Okay.
So it's like really competitive. There's like 20 families that are allowed to join the club, and like once that list reaches 20, you can't sign up anymore.
Really?
And it's like, so you have this like circuit that you can go through to the local town. You can go to like the 7-Eleven, and they've prepared like little goodie bags for the kids and everything. But it's just like, it just cracks me up because of how Japan that feels.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You have a list. Only 20 people are allowed to join. Here are the rules. You must go here in this order.
So it's like on one side, it's like, oh, great. I'm so happy that like Japan's embracing that, but it's like also, oh, okay, there's a lot of rules for this.
Well, if it gets more common, I think the rules will go away. But I just seriously, some of my best memories when I was a kid was getting into like a Power Rangers costume when I was a really small kid and just going out, you know?
Totally. I mean, I think I've told this story on the channel before, but like one of my parents' like most fondest memories of me is like the first time they took me trick or treating. I was probably 4 or 5 years old, and they took me trick or treating. And the first house I went to, we opened the door, and I immediately just walked into the house and was like, "Oh, do you have any toys?" And like the neighbors were like shocked, like, why did this kid just walk into our house? And my parents were like, oh my God, okay, I'm sorry. He understands that when you open the door, you're supposed to go in. Yeah. So like he didn't understand the concept of trick or treating.
Yeah, man.
But it's just like there's a lot of fun, cute memories like that. And I remember even as an adult, like, you know, if I was over at my parents' house, which usually I would go visit my parents during Halloween, you open the door and, you know, you got all these cute kids in like a bunch of different costumes and stuff, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah. So yeah. So for you, when you feel about like the autumn season, so like Halloween, we talked a little bit about Halloween, but there's also November. Yeah. You know, and so like for you, what's really different between like autumn here in Japan versus autumn where you're from? So I think for me, so something I really like specifically, more so in November than October, because October it's like 100% Halloween. Yeah, right. But November kind of kicks in, and November feels like fall. September and October don't, for me, they don't really feel like fall.
Yeah, October is like the last breaths of summer dying.
Yeah, but November you've got like that cold bite in the air. Yeah, and so I kind of like to spend time inside. And so what I like to do in November, especially in Seattle, is I would like to go to Starbucks. Yeah. Just kind of hang out in there and like, you know,
pumpkin spice latte.
Yeah, they got the pumpkin spice latte. Oh man, I love those. Yeah. But yeah, you just kind of chill in there, and it's like me. You can bring your computer and work on stuff, or you can just kind of relax and just like soak in the atmosphere. And I like to do that here in Japan also. But I'm going to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of the cafes here.
Yeah? Why is that?
So, it's an interesting thing, because I actually think, and in my limited experience traveling to other countries, I think the cafes in Japan are probably like the best quality of cafes that I've visited in any country. Like the cafes are like, people really try hard to make the cafes nice here. However, the one thing that I would like cafes to have here is to be more comfortable. Yeah. And maybe that's a Tokyo thing. Maybe if you get out in the countryside, the cafes get a little bit more spread out and comfortable. I could see that. But you go like let's talk about like Tolli's or Starbucks here, because those are kind of like the most common coffee shops you would see in Tokyo. You go in and it's very like really cramped. Yeah. Right?
It's very stylish when you first look at it, but then when you go to find a seat, it's really cramped.
Like for example, so most people go to a cafe alone, or sometimes they'll go with their friend. But I would say most of the time they're going alone. They're like on a break from their job or something, and you go into the cafe. And if you want to sit down in the cafe, you have like what I can only describe as like a high school student chair. Yeah, you know, where it's like the chair with like the table that's kind of like built in right there. And it's like a very cramped experience. And like I said, the cafe itself is like really high quality. I've never complained about the coffee here. The snacks are great. The staff's really friendly. Like the atmosphere is fantastic. Yeah. It's just like the comfort. I miss that, because I used to when I was in Seattle, I used to go to Starbucks and they would have these like almost lazy boy chairs.
Yeah.
You know what I
the
mean?
really
Like
comfortable plush
the
chairs.
really big comfortable plush chairs, and you could sit in there and honestly you could fall asleep in those.
Yeah. Yeah, in Starbucks.
They're so comfortable.
Yeah, well, you know me, when I was in college, I was a hipster, full-on hipster, so I swore to never go to Starbucks.
Yeah. That's so Seattle of you.
That is so Seattle of me to go. I'm from the place where Starbucks was born, but I don't go to Starbucks.
Yeah.
But I remember even like, so in the university district, there were tons of like coffee shops, whatever.
Yeah.
And, you know, I remember going to my favorite coffee shops and taking Natsumi there. And then after experiencing coffee shops in Japan, it is kind of what you said, like the coffee shops here are on point. They're beautiful. Yeah. Like a lot of times you'll have a great theme, a great setup. But when you go to sit down, things are really cramped. Whereas in the States, it's almost like the opposite. Like there were a lot of coffee shops. Like I remember there was this one coffee shop in the U district called Solstice, which I loved to go to. It was really dark, and I'm sure there was a lot of dirt hiding around places, and like the tables were rickety, but the tables were big.
Yeah.
And there was like a sofa line, like seating and stuff. And it was really comfortable. I'd go there for hours, just the table would like move all the time.
No, exactly. I had the exact same experience at the Starbucks near my campus.
Okay.
Because I primarily went to the Bothell campus for the UW, and there was a Starbucks right by there, and I would do the same thing. I would finish class and I would go over there and just kind of chill. And honestly, it's like, I mean, you go to a Starbucks in the U.S. and there's not really an atmosphere. It feels very much like a restaurant or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's kind of like it's kind of sterile.
Yeah. But it's very comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. When you stop thinking about the whole thing, you just kind of focus on your little area. Then it's great.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I get that too. But you know, one thing that I thought was interesting, speaking about Starbucks, is when you talk about the drinks, especially in like the autumn period, because you know, in the States, you know, fall equals pumpkin spice, whatever.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
But in Japan, I feel like a lot of it is kuri, is a lot like chestnut stuff. Like they have chestnut frappuccinos and stuff.
That or emo.
Emo
potato,
too. Yeah.
like
Sweet potato.
Yeah, you see that a lot too.
Yeah, it's funny how it's like in the States, autumn equals pumpkin spice, and here it's autumn equals kuri and satsumaimo.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But I have to say, I kind of like those flavors more, like the chestnut.
Really?
And they're really hearty, really rich. I don't know. I just love it.
I don't hate them. Well, I think I gravitate more to the pumpkin spice. I just really like pumpkin flavor.
Yeah.
Like pumpkin bread, I'm a huge fan of too.
Yeah.
But I'm really happy about those. One other thing. Have you ever done Thanksgiving here?
We did once.
Yeah?
Yes.
I am surprised at how easy it was to do.
Oh, really? So when you say do Thanksgiving, what does that mean?
So do Thanksgiving as in like prepare. I mean, you're basically preparing. It's like osechi, right? You have your staple Thanksgiving foods that you need to prepare. You need to get like turkey. You need to get stuffing. You need to get mashed potatoes and gravy, cranberry sauce, bread rolls with sweet butter, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
More pumpkin stuff. But I really, when I moved here, I thought that was an impossible task. I thought that was never going to happen. You can go to Don Quixote and get everything I just listed.
You can get a turkey at Don Quixote?
You can get a turkey at Don Quixote.
Really?
Yeah. It's not going to be like a full, proper, like big turkey, but it'll be turkey meat. So it'll be like a slab of turkey.
Okay.
So
actually though, in 2019, like before the pandemic and stuff, sorry, I filled that up a lot. Natsumi was able to get a full bird turkey, except it was just a small turkey. But it was really expensive.
Oh,
but it was like a full bird turkey, so we were able to like roast it in the traditional way.
If you go to Costco, you can get. I mean, the Costco here is exactly like Costco in the U.S.
Oh, really?
Like, there's
Do you
literally
have a Costco card? Can you use your American Costco card here?
You can.
Really?
Yes. Costco cards work internationally, which is pretty cool.
I gotta tell my parents that.
Yeah. No kidding. I've got a Costco card, so I don't go very often. I mean, I can't even tell you the last time I've gone. But yeah, if you go to Costco, you can get a full turkey.
Okay.
So if you're looking for that, yeah, man, I love Thanksgiving. You know, it's kind of funny though, because I used to hate it when I was a kid. It would drive me nuts. I think because it was like really stressful around the time, because like my mom, because we always used to host Thanksgiving for my family, right? And I'll give you a little bit of personal history with Austin. And so my mom was really into hosting meals for our family, and yeah, bless them, but my family members were not very grateful about it. So like we would always get like our odd uncle and aunts and like all their kids coming over, and it's not that I disliked them, but it's just like I rarely ever saw them, and it's just like, why are you people in my house? Like, can you go away? And you know, my mom was always really stressed during that time of the year, because like she just had a lot of stuff to prepare. Yeah, you know, it was like cooking everything, getting the house all ready, and it's just like, you know, she would be super stressed. So like she would get angry at me a lot because I never cleaned my room or anything. So I always hated that time of year, because it's like I was really picky as a kid too. So like I didn't like a lot of Thanksgiving foods actually.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah. So it's like Thanksgiving would roll around and it's like, oh God, I got to comb my hair and put on all these like nice clothes that my mom bought me last week. They look so nerdy. I don't want to tuck in my shirt, you know? And it's like all these weird people are coming over to my house, and my grandma's getting angry at my great aunt because she has dementia, and we have all this gross food out here. Ooh, I just want to eat sweet rolls in the cranberry sauce. That's it. And then, you know, when I became an adult, I started to realize, like, dude, Thanksgiving food's really good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It took a while, though.
Yeah. It's like, man, mashed potatoes and gravy's awesome. Why didn't I like this as a kid?
You didn't like mashed potatoes as a kid?
I liked mashed potatoes. I hated gravy.
But you like cranberry sauce?
I liked cranberry sauce.
Demon possessed you, man, because cranberry sauce is horrible, even now.
I love cranberry sauce. I love cranberries. So I will tell you, the food that I ate for Thanksgiving, you're going to think I'm insane.
Okay.
So
this is when you were a kid?
This is when I was a kid. So sweet rolls with butter. Okay. It's like, who doesn't like that?
Yeah, right.
Cranberry sauce.
Okay.
And black olives.
Black olives?
I love black olives.
What are you, man?
It was the weirdest thing. That's all I would eat at Thanksgiving. I'm not even like turkey? I hated turkey. I'm not making this up. It's the weirdest thing.
Dude, well, I'm glad you grew up.
No kidding, right?
But it's funny when you think about it, though, because like, so in the States, like when you talked about how it's like osechi, like I made that connection for the first time in my mind, because it really is like Christmas, you know, people have similar foods, but depending on where they're from, they have different foods. But Thanksgiving is always turkey, pumpkin pie, cranberry sauce, stuffing. Like it's all decided, right?
Yes.
But it's interesting. So your mom cooked everything? She didn't get help from other people?
No. I mean, like my dad would help out a bit, but it was like pretty much my mom.
Because like in my family, what we would do is like everyone would bring a dish. Like someone would be responsible for the turkey. Normally the person was hosting it, but like my aunt would always bring her mashed potatoes, and then my mom would bring the pies. Like we kind of separated it that way.
So there was a little bit of that going on. Yeah. Where like my grandpa was in charge of bringing the Costco pie.
The Costco pie?
The Costco pie. You never had the Costco pumpkin pie? No. Dude, they're just the most ridiculous thing ever. First of all, they're really delicious.
Yeah.
But they're these pumpkin pies that I'm like, they're like the size of a large pizza.
Yeah.
They're enormous. They're way too big.
Yeah.
It's like the definition of American size.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So my grandpa would always bring that. But the thing is like people would bring food, but it'll always be redundant food.
Okay.
You know, it was never like, I feel like my mom told them like, oh yeah, you should bring this. But then my mom being my mom, she wanted to be prepared just in case. So
she made it anyways.
Yeah, just in case that person didn't show up. So she would either go out and buy it, or she would make whatever they're supposed to bring also. So
you know, man, the more I learn about your mom, the more I'm scared of her.
She's a wonderful person.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But my mom likes to keep busy.
Yeah.
And she's you know, she's taught me a lot of stuff in life, but one thing that I kind of attribute to her is she's prepared for everything.
Okay.
Yeah, so like Thanksgiving, it was just like
Make sure
everything's there. Even if someone's bringing something, it's like we just have two of it now. You know,
funny story. So the first time I ever had vodka, was at Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
and it I didn't realize it at the time because I was 4. Yeah. So I had like a glass of water. I remember like this is a formative
you just
experience.
straight up drank a glass of vodka?
No. Let me tell you what happened.
Okay,
So I had a glass. I had a glass of water. Okay. And I put it down on the counter. I was probably like 4 or 5 years old or something. And I walked around and I came back and I saw my glass on the counter.
Yeah.
And so I went to grab it and I drank it and it was incredibly bitter. It tasted like the worst thing I've ever tasted in my life. And I put it back on the counter. I'm like, I am never drinking. Like, what happened to my water? And it was about 3 years ago when I realized that it was vodka. But when I was a kid, I was like, what happened to my water?
You know, I'm going to be honest with you. I would have the same reaction as a 32-year-old man.
Yeah.
Like, what is this garbage? I hate vodka, man. Really? I absolutely hate vodka.
Yeah.
It's weird because, sorry to go on a sidetrack, but you just reminded me of my extreme hatred of vodka. I love whiskey. I love sake. I love wine. I love
tequila.
Tequila is my favorite alcohol.
Okay.
Beer, I'm kind of falling out of love with beer because I'm just kind of getting bored with it.
Yeah.
But I think that's because I live here.
Yeah.
But vodka's always been that drink for me that I can't stomach it. I can't stomach it. I drink it and I'm just like, God, this.
Why?
I've drank it like cheap vodka. I've drank expensive vodka, and I just can't enjoy the taste.
Dude, speaking of that, for in the future, we should talk about beer in Japan versus the States. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, we can save the discussion there, but I just want to add to that because I have such a strong opinion for this because I think high quality beer is hands down not even a comparison better in the US.
Yeah.
However, I would say if you're kind of getting like the generic.
The generic?
Well, the generic like just like I just want a beer kind of thing like at a restaurant. I think Japan's better.
Yeah, right.
Like cuz if you compare the options like Bud Light and Coors and
Miller,
like, Miller, PBR, Pabst Blue Ribbon. Those beers suck when you compare them to like Kirin, Asahi, or Sapporo. Like there's no comparison. Like the Japanese beers are way better.
Yeah.
But as soon as you go to the next level, it's like
I get that.
Yeah, craft beers are God, especially in Seattle, they're so good.
Dude, yeah, Seattle's on another level, man.
Yeah.
But okay, so bringing it back to the topic at hand. So if you were to go back to the States and never come to Japan, what would be something about autumn in Japan that you would miss being in the States?
That I would miss here?
Yeah. Like you could never experience it again because you're in the States.
You know, I this is gonna sound like a stupid answer, but I really miss going out and seeing the leaves.
Going out and seeing the leaves? Really?
I like doing that. Yui and I are going to do it next month. I find it fun. There's you know what I really like about Japan?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I really like. There's a lot of things and there's a lot of activities and traditions that you do here during like throughout the year, like in different seasons and stuff. That's literally just going out and looking at something.
Yeah.
You know? Spring, you go out and look at the sakura. Summer, you go out usually to the beach.
Yeah.
Fall, you go out in the leaves. Winter, you go out into the snow. And it's like when you think about the actual activity, it's like it's really mundane.
Yeah.
It's like, you're just going out and looking at something you probably see every day. What's the big deal? But I really like the idea here in Japan of, okay, you know what? We're just going to stop and we're just going to go out and we're going to look at this. And we're going to take the time to appreciate this. And I love that.
Yeah.
I really like that.
No, I get that. It's like in the States, it's almost like taken for granted so people don't think about it. But it's a thing here.
Absolutely. I would say the only time of the year that I can really think of like where you stop and appreciate stuff, just growing up in Seattle, is probably winter. where you go to a town called Leavenworth. You've
Oh yeah,
probably been there,
Leavenworth.
right?
Yeah,
The
like
German
the,
town.
yeah.
It's such a great place.
Mhm.
If you ever go to Seattle,
Go to Leavenworth.
go to Leavenworth, specifically during the winter. It's such a treat.
Yeah.
It's a completely German town, and it's so fantastic.
Yeah.
But that's like the only time that I can really think of that like people go out of their way to just go be in the snow.
Yeah, right.
And just kind of have fun.
Mm-hmm.
But all the other times of the year, it's like fall. It's like, yeah, it's just rainy and the leaves change.
Yeah.
You know, summer, it's like Seattle doesn't have any beaches.
Yeah.
Well, they do, but
It's
kind of
not really. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like maybe you'll go at a barbecue with your friends, but you're not really doing that.
Yeah. It's not really like one thing that I really like here. It kind of goes into how everything is like cute, and even like why the manholes here in the ground, they have like nice designs and stuff. It's because you take something that's mundane, and you make it beautiful, or you make it more enjoyable, even if it's not like the main feature of what you're doing or your everyday life. You just take a minute to look at it and appreciate it. You know, like it's so funny because like there are Instagram accounts dedicated to manhole covers in Japan.
Really?
Yeah, so you can like see all the different because they all have different great designs. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like
that's so fun.
It's like in the States, it'd be like, "What are you talking about? It's just manhole cover. Let's go do something. Let's go do something." You know, but you don't have that as much.
Yeah. So I think that's what I would miss. To flip that though, I'll tell you, there is one thing that I don't get homesick a lot. I love being in here, being in Japan. And I actually feel bad. I made a comment to my mom last time I went and visited Seattle. We came back. We're a little bit intoxicated. I was out with my brother and sisters. But I came back and I told my mom like, I can't stand coming back here. I just want to go back to Tokyo. And there was a little bit of like personal stuff going on at the time. Like Yui had COVID at the time. So I was feeling bad. Like I felt like I needed to come back. So, I mean, that was kind of influencing my statement. So I've always regretted saying that though.
Yeah.
Because I do love living here, but there are things that I really miss about Seattle. And
like, for example?
So, yeah, I know. It's like building it up.
And
in the fall, I love going to pumpkin patches.
Okay, yeah, pumpkin patches.
I love pumpkin patches, man. I love the whole experience of going to a pumpkin patch because, like I said, I grew up in the countryside, right? And so, we would go to Snohomish, and Snohomish is kind of like a farm town. And there's huge pumpkin patches there and corn mazes.
Yeah, corn mazes.
They're super fun.
Yeah.
They're so much fun. And you can't experience that here.
Yeah.
So I miss that.
I do. Yeah. So I told Natsumi, I'm like, if there's one thing that I do miss, it's like the farms in Massachusetts where you have the corn mazes, we have apples and like apple cider and then all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would really, I think in the future, what I want to do is I want to go spend basically all of November and December in the States and then come back for New Year's.
Yeah.
Here.
I would agree. I think if I were to like cherry pick like which months are more fun to spend in like specific countries, I think I would do September, November, December in Seattle and then come back to Japan for January.
Yeah.
And then stay in Japan until like
July and August. I want to be in the States too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I would say like June's still fine.
Yeah.
Because that humidity hasn't hit in yet. But yeah, once July kicks in, it's like, it sucks here.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, so I think this might be a good place to wrap up today's topic.
Yeah.
We're just going to do one last shot. Wow, you really filled that up. Thanks,
man.
Well,
I mean, you wanted to end it, man. So
yeah, you got to end it. Got to end it in style, right? Yep. Cheers, man. And I spilled on me.
Nice.
Great. Classy way to end. All right, man. Thanks so much.
Yeah, this was fun.